Are we seeing this market reset at the moment? Because yes, we saw a dump in the overall crypto market, only a few bubbles are green, but we're going to look at the markets because yes, Bitcoin nearly dumped 10% towards the downside. And guys, if you've been watching my previous video, you know that we have been talking about the 61.8. Yes, Bitcoin came down all the way to the levels of $40,360. But guys, you can see that this 61.8 was a significant support. And we saw that the price movement of Bitcoin perfectly found support around the 61.8 and this support level that we have been talking about. But is it going to continue even lower, or could we expect a bounce from these levels? Guys, we're going to look at the news because yes, we could expect some major volatility because tomorrow we're going to see the CPI release, and on Wednesday we're going to get the PPI result and also the FOMC rate decision and the speech of Fed Jerome Powell. So is Fed Jerome Powell once again going to move the markets? We're going to find out all of that in today's video. So if you want to find out more, watch the video until the end, smash up the like button and subscribe. And now let's directly start with today's content. And welcome back to B4Crypto, guys. Yes, we could see a dump in the overall crypto market, but guys, this is just a major opportunity to buy the dip. But we're going to start with the price movement of Bitcoin, and yes, we're going to go on the daily chart because on the daily chart we can see that Bitcoin reached a high of $44,750, but now we saw this break of this trend line. And yes, we've been talking about this trend line, and I also told you if we're going to lose this trend line, we could expect a dump all the way back down. But let's look at the support lines that we could expect if we're going to see this continuation towards the downside. Because yes, we had our first price target exactly at the support box round about the 61.8. But yes, we could also see this continuation even lower all the way to this horizontal support all the way at the levels of 37,777. And yes, this is going to be our second support because this also perfectly lines up with a 50 moving average, this blue line exactly here in these levels. So first of all, this is going to be our second price target, and we can also see this perfectly lines up with this trend line that we can see that we've been holding for quite a while. So yes, this would perfectly make sense to come down to the 50 moving average and also this horizontal support. But yes, we also have a next price target if we're even going to see this break of this trend line exactly here. Yes, this would perfectly line up with this support box round about the $34,800 where we saw previous resistance exactly here when Bitcoin broke above this very important key zone of $30,000, and we came all the way back into this major zone, and this zone turned into support exactly here, and we saw this continuation even higher. And once again, we can see this perfectly lines up with a 100 moving average exactly in the support box, so this would ultimately be our next major level. But guys, we can also see that my worst case scenario, which I told you in the previous video, which is all the way at the $31,000 level, this major resistance, if we go on the weekly chart, this major price zone where we had this major resistance when we were trading within this range, and we saw this breakout and this continuation even higher. So yes, this would be my worst case scenario, that we're going to see this dump all the way back down to this yellow support box. Because yes, on the daily chart we can see, guys, this yellow support box is exactly at the 200 moving average. So these price targets perfectly line up: 200, 100 and 50 moving average. These are going to be our retracement zones with a worst case scenario all the way at the $31,000 level. Because yes, guys, we could expect some major volatility during the FOMC meeting and also the CPI release. But overall, I expected we're going to get some positive data, that we're not going to see any rate hike, and that we could expect quantitative easing. And this means yes, the Federal Reserve is going to print even more money, and this is going to drive the price of Bitcoin. But first of all, on the 4-hour chart, guys, where we perfectly found support, and at the moment the price of Bitcoin is bouncing at these levels where I told you we're most probably going to see some major support for Bitcoin. But if you've been watching my videos, guys, you know that Bitcoin doesn't like these V-shaped recoveries, and that we could expect that yes, we're going to form a lower high, and that we could expect that the price movement of Bitcoin, before we're going to see a further pump towards the upside, that yes, we're going to form a double bottom exactly here, maybe come all the way back down to the $40,000 level, where we can see we have the 100 moving average on the 4-hour chart. So yes, we need to draw the Fibonacci retracement level from the swing high all the way to the swing low on the 4-hour chart, and then we can see, guys, we are holding the 38.2 from this major move towards the downside. But yes, we could expect that the price movement of Bitcoin is going to come all the way back up to the 78.6 and that we're going to form a lower high and that we're going to see this continuation towards the downside. First of all, yes, we could also turn around at the 61.8, which is also a major resistance zone because this was previous support. So support turns into resistance. And also here at the 78.6, we can also see some major support, which will also turn into resistance. So yes, be careful on this move towards the upside because yes, the FOMC meeting and also the CPI release will be within the next 2 days. So I expect that first of all, we're going to see this retracement all the way back down to the 41,000 US dollar level. And ultimately, we could expect that Bitcoin is going to go sideways before we could expect this next major move towards the upside. But yes, before we're going to continue, let's go back on the weekly chart of Bitcoin, because if we're going to zoom out on the weekly chart, guys, we are so close to the 50,000 US dollar level, which is ultimately my price target for the end of the year. And yes, I've been telling you this from the beginning of the year, that we're most probably going to reach the 50,000 US dollars by the end of the year. But we could also expect some major volatility through BlackRock entering the market. So yes, be prepared for any type of corrections, because even in a bull market, we are seeing these 20% corrections within the bull markets. So at the moment, yes, we saw from the swing high all the way to the swing low around about 10% correction from the stump that we had at the moment. But guys, if we're going to see this 20% correction, this would mean that Bitcoin is going to come all the way back down to the 35,000 US dollar level, which is perfectly this support box that I've been telling you, which is exactly also the 13 EMA on the weekly chart. But overall, guys, I expect that we're going to move within this range before we're going to get any news from the Bitcoin spot ETF, from BlackRock, or even the Bitcoin halving, which is in April. So this gives you some time to accumulate some more Bitcoin. And yes, in my thumbnail I said I'm selling Bitcoin, and yes guys, this is also what I'm doing, because yes, I love Bitcoin and I see a bright future for Bitcoin being the money of the future. But ultimately, guys, if we go over to this post, this would be our most bullish scenario, that Bitcoin is going to reach the 500,000 US dollars. So what is that, guys? This is from the 50,000 US dollars all the way to the 500k. This would be a 10x. Is this going to change your life? Most probably not. And that is the reason why I'm selling some of my Bitcoin, because I really do believe that the altcoins will outperform Bitcoin before we're going to see the major Bitcoin halving and also this parabolic run towards the upside. So yes guys, this would be an awesome strategy to take some of your Bitcoin and diversify it into some altcoins, because we could expect a major pump towards the upside for some of the major altcoins. Because if we're going to look at the Bitcoin dominance, yes, at the moment we are at 54%. But I expect, guys, we're going to see that the altcoins will outperform Bitcoin in the immediate short term, and that we could expect some major moves. Because at the moment, I think if you want to generate life-changing wealth, you shouldn't have a portfolio of 70% in Bitcoin. You should have a portfolio of around about 20% in Bitcoin, 10% in Ethereum, and the 70% you should hold in altcoins. Because guys, if we're going to look at some moves of the altcoins, like for instance Solana, where I told you on Friday that we could expect this massive explosion for the altcoins. Yes, some of you commented that we're seeing the markets dumping at the moment, but guys, you should focus on a long-term perspective. So exactly here on Friday, I posted this video that we're going to see this massive altcoin explosion, and that I could expect that Solana is going to get this major pump all the way to this major resistance. And we saw this 14% pump, and we nearly reached our price target, which was all the way at the levels of $80. But now we're seeing this major correction and this reset of the markets, which is quite healthy, guys. Because yes, we can see that Solana only came down to the 13 EMA and perfectly bounced off from this previous resistance exactly here and also here. So this is just a perfect retest from this major breakout, and I could expect that yes, Solana is going to see this continuation towards the upside, and that we're going to see a small breather for Bitcoin, or maybe even this consolidation within this massive range. Because yes, BlackRock wants to buy low. Do you think that BlackRock wants to buy all of their Bitcoin round about the 50,000 US dollar level? No guys, they're going to try to manipulate the markets all the way back down, maybe even all the way to the 30,000 US dollars to load up even more. So dollar cost average into all of these altcoins to diversify your Bitcoin holdings, because if you're going to diversify, like for instance in AVAX, we could expect a massive pump towards the upside. And yes, a lot of people commented why I'm investing into these projects that already saw a massive pump towards the upside. In a bear market, you shouldn't buy any highs, because we could expect a major dump towards the downside, and this was just a fake move. But buying the highs in the bull market, guys, this could really be life changing, because we're not going to see these corrections all the way back down to the 61.8 or even the 88.6, because in the bull markets the coins used to pump towards the upside. And we can see for AVAX, where I told you on Friday exactly here, we drew this measured move exactly when the price movement was round about the $27.20, and we saw this pump of 43% towards the upside, exactly as predicted, guys. So yes, I'm not going to invest my money into small projects that maybe are going to fail. I'm going to pick the coins that saw a fast move towards the upside, where we could expect some even higher moves towards the upside, like for instance for Solana. I could expect that Solana is going to break its previous all-time high sooner than Bitcoin, and this gives you the opportunity to get some major moves towards the upside. Yes, if we're going to reach the all-time high of Solana before Bitcoin does, this means that you're going to make 280%, and that you can reinvest into Bitcoin with even more capital, because guys, a 10x for Bitcoin isn't going to change your life. So that's why picking these altcoins that could easily make a 10 to 100 or even 1000x is going to give you the edge to make life-changing wealth. But yes, we have also talked about Link on Friday, and yes, we didn't see this breakout from this ascending triangle, but we can see that, guys, this trend line perfectly held. So yes, Link is still a good buy exactly in these highs, because remember, I told you to buy BTT exactly in these levels, and I told you that I'm going to buy the high of BTT, and what happened? Did it come back down? No, we saw a further move towards the upside, and we made some major gains on this trade. We can see that the price movement pumped all the way up, and this was a 100% move since Friday. And we can go over also to Beam, where I told you that I'm going to buy Beam exactly in these levels, and what did we see? Did we see a correction towards the downside? Did you get the opportunity on any retracements, or was it better to buy the high? Yes, it was better to buy the high. We could see that this move from these highs all the way to the new high, we saw a pump of 28% just in 3 days. So yes, guys, use this opportunity to diversify your Bitcoins. Because yes, if we're going to look at my altcoin portfolio, we can see that my altcoin portfolio outperformed the price movement of Bitcoin, and the return on Bitcoin of 44% within the last 90 days. So yes, ultimately, you're going to make more money investing now into altcoins and diversifying them back into Bitcoin, where we're going to be in a later stage of the bull market and before Bitcoin reaches this high. And if you want to trade all of these moves, guys, go down in the video description below and sign up to BITFLEX, Bybit, OKX, MEXC, or even FOREX, where you receive a massive deposit bonus. And yes, my favorite exchanges are Bybit, OKX, and MEXC, because there you get a lot of trading pairs that you can trade on the spot market or even on the futures market. So yes, guys, we could expect this continuation for Bitcoin, and first of all a pump maybe to the 61.8, but overall, guys, I expect that Bitcoin is going to form this double bottom. Maybe by Wednesday we have formed this double bottom, and we could expect this breakout even higher for Bitcoin, because ultimately, yes, guys, I'm selling a portion of my Bitcoins, but Bitcoin is still the money of the future. And make sure to watch all my videos to always stay up to date, and make sure to be for crypto, and we see each other in the next video.